As the story begins, we see a person in night suit fighting with a beast in front of a huge crowd. They are fighting to win the Decennial Combat Festival, also known as the Grand Fighting Tournament, to decide the strongest man in the world. No human has won the tournament in 150 years. Will the night guy be able to win it? Let's see. The night guy is trying to win because of a girl named Luvelia. The winner of this competition gets fame and glory, but in return he becomes an object of international intrigue. What does this mean? We will say as the story continues. We see the night guy representative of the Yakapachi Warrior Guild winning the competition named Peter Grill. As Peter Grill is rushing to meet Luvelia after the competition, we see him being chased by Mimi and Lisa, also known as the Ogre Sisters. They both are fighting themselves to determine who will bear Peter Grill's seeds and give birth to his child. They are desperate to make love with him because he is the most powerful in the world, and for Ogre, producing a strong offspring is a pretty big deal. But Peter Grill's heart only belongs to Luvelia, so he somehow escaped their hold. In the next scene, we see Peter Grill entering a church where Luvelia is praying. We come to know that Luvelia's father was not ready for their marriage, but as now Peter Grill is the strongest in the world, they are certain that he won't deny. With their conversation, we discover that Luvelia's father, the Guildmaster, has brainwashed her to think that when two people who are in love pray to heavens, the stork carries their child to a cabbage patch. For this reason, although being in a relationship for 2 years, they have only held hands at most. Now we are in Peter's house, where he is only wearing a boxer after bathing. As he removed the quilt from his bed, we see Mimi lying there with half of her body on display, ready to make love with Peter. Frustrated with her behavior, Peter kicks her out and sat on his bed. But to his surprise, Lisa is also there waiting for him. He kicks her out as well, but because of Ogre Sisters, loud, whining people came out of their room wondering what happened. Peter had to take them in again as the people outside misunderstood the situation. They thought Peter was kicking them out after having fun with them. We see Ogre Sisters tempting Peter by displaying their melons and putting his hand on them. The heavenly sensation of touching the melon made him lose his control. In the next scene, we see Peter sitting in the bed with Ogre Sisters sleeping on either side of him. As he was regretting doing what he did, we hear a knock from the door. It is Luvelia. What will Peter do? We will find as the story continues. By the voice, Peter realized that Luvelia is standing outside the door. Scared of her knowing the truth about last night, he hid the Ogre Sisters in the wooden cupboard. Begging them to keep their mouths shut, he opened the door. When asked about the sweat coming from his body, he told her that he was working out doing his daily training routine. Impressed by his dedication, she expressed her excitement of him becoming his husband. She told him that she is planning to tell her father about their engagement once they return to the guild headquarters. She asked for his support, and he told her that she is the only woman that has his heart, as he won the tournament just to earn her hand in marriage. After winning the tournament, Peter thought it will be easy to convince Guildmaster, but to his surprise, he declined. Luvelia, defying her father, said that he wanted the tournament champion to be his son-in-law, but now he is denying. Guildmaster blamed Peter for brainwashing her against him and was trying to cut him with his sword, but Luvelia stand in between them to protect Peter. Realizing there is no other choice, the Guildmaster gave them his blessings for marriage. A feast is organized in celebration of their engagement and their triumph in the tournament. Luvelia told Peter that she was nervous while talking with her father, but her faith in Peter gave her strength. Seeing how much she trusted him, he felt guilt for sleeping with the Ogre Sisters behind her back. At the dinner table, we see Peter anxious of Ogre Sister telling the truth to Luvelia. As he was thinking about them, they appeared in front of him. They congratulated him for his engagement and asked for the batch of baby batter again tonight by getting and removing his pants as well. He tried to convince them otherwise. Not ready to understand, the Ogre Sisters made a deal with him. They promised to keep this a secret if in return Peter agreed to provide them with his seeds until they are pregnant. As they were discussing this, Peter heard the sound of Luvelia footsteps. Not having enough time, Peter had no other choice but to sit on the table, hiding Ogre Sisters under it. Luvelia sat beside Peter, and as they were talking, the Guildmaster appeared beside Peter. He asked him to give his seat to him as he wished to talk with Luvelia, but as the Ogre Sister were under the table, and he himself was not wearing any pants, He denied him, saying he don't want to give his spot beside Louvelia to anyone. Aggravated by his words as Guildmaster was about to attack him, Louvelia stopped him from doing so. Remembering when Louvelia was a child, she wanted to marry him, and now she is ready to even cut ties with him, the Guildmaster got emotional and left the scene in anger. Louvelia held Peter's hand and expressed her gratitude to him for standing against her father for her. As they were talking, the ogre sisters were playing with Peter's tool under the table. As he was about to lose his cool, Louvelia has to leave to tend to her father, who was getting aggressive after drinking a lot. As soon as she left, the ogre sister came out of the table and started teasing Peter again. As the sun rises, we see Peter standing in the balcony with ogre sister sleeping behind him. Ashamed of betraying Louvelia again, Peter don't know what to do. Will this ever stop? Continue watching to know more. We see Louvelia sitting on Peter and telling him that she now know how to make babies. Right when Peter touched Louvelia's melon, the Guildmaster came in place of Louvelia. Thinking it is a ghost, Peter started screaming. As he woke up from his dream shouting, he saw a girl shouting as well. Thinking she is a thief, Peter tried to capture her in the dark. As Tim was passing by the room, he thought Peter was drunk, and to check on him, he opened the light. As soon as the room brightens, we see Peter sitting over the golden hair girl, touching her melons with one hand and lifting her leg with other. As soon as he realized the situation, he let go of her. Thinking that they were having fun, Tim left the room, assuring Peter that he won't tell a soul about this. The golden hair girl is Vegan Eldorial, an elf who traveled as the designated Goodwill Ambassador. She told him that she came here to acquire his seeds. Peter asked her why she want babies with him. Vegan told him that elves are a physically weak species, and hence has no chance of winning the grand fighting tournament. As a result, they are being ridiculed and terrorized by their neighboring countries. So to make their species stronger, they decided to take outside help, and she was tasked to bring Peter the strongest men in the world seeds with her. Peter told Vegan that although he appreciated the offer, but he must decline. As Vegan forced him to make love with her, he showed her his sleeping tool and told her that his heart belonged to someone else. Frustrated that her sublime body can't make his tool excited and not able to complete her task, she started crying. Left with no choice, Vegan used a magic spell on Peter's thing, which is forbidden sorcery sealed away in her homeland from generations. As she fled from the window, she told Peter that tomorrow he will beg on his knees to have fun with her. Thinking she is bluffing, Peter got ready for the hunt. After hearing about a creature, Louvelia head towards the jungle to locate the creature lair. As the sun was setting, one of her men told her to wait for the combat unit, but before they can do anything, they were caught by the creature. In the castle, a girl told Peter about Louvelia being attacked by the great worm goblin who wreak havoc by devouring the men and defiling the women. Peter ran to save Louvelia. On the other hand, Louvelia tried to fight the creature but was caught by it. Will Peter be able to save Louvelia? Let's see. As Louvelia was struggling to get away from creature's hold, we see Peter running desperately to save her. Peter was able to reach on time as he slashed the creature's tentacles holding Louvelia and was able to get a hold of her. Angered by his doing, Peter killed the creature without much effort. Everyone who came with Peter were happy and impressed by how easily he killed the creature. Everyone started cheering his name as Peter asked about Louvelia health, who in return told him that she will be completely lost without him. In the next scene, we see Peter taking bath. He is not able to understand why his thing is so excited all of a sudden. Finding no reason for it, he thought that it might be the elf's doing. Thinking about her, and she appeared right in front of him wearing a towel. She told him that the magic spell is called the Eternal Erect, where the subject experiences insatiable arousal. If not taken care of in time, it results in permanent inability to pop the rocket. Hearing about the consequence, Peter starts pleading Vegan to break the curse. But to get rid of the curse, Peter must secrete his juice in Vegan's cave. Just as they were talking, we hear Louvelia talking from the other side of the hot spring taking a bath. Louvelia asked Peter if he know about the legend surrounding the resort. Surprised by Louvelia's sudden voice, Peter asked about it hesitantly. She told him that this particular hot spring is unique, as it flows from a special source and is believed to have fascinating effect. Those who soak themselves in it are blessed with children. So Luvelia asked Peter to join her to test this rumor. Peter was thrilled by Luvelia's words, as the only thing they did in 2 years of relationship was to hold hands. But due to his almost bursting tool, he denied her, saying that it's not the right time. Understanding the situation, Luvelia left the bath, but Peter was left heartbroken, as it was his dream to get intimate with her. Desperate to remove the spell, Peter asked Vegan, begging on his knees to lift the curse. Convincing himself that it is just for the sake of securing his future with Luvelia, Peter slept with Vagon. As the sun rises, we see Peter sitting lifeless with Vegan lying beside him naked. Will Peter be able to live happily with Luvelia after all this chaos? Wait and see what happens. We see huge thunderstorms raining down in the town. We see Guildmaster whining that his daughter Luvelia is getting away from her. We see a missive arriving. We can see Guildmaster grinning after reading it, saying it will lead to Peter's demise. What could be written in the missive? We will find out as the episode goes. In the next scene, we see that Peter is being summoned by the Guildmaster. He informed Peter that Orkland has requested access to his offsprings. After watching his performance in tournament, a member of Orc aristocracy, Mr. Babe, has given the offer. As Peter was giving his disregard to the matter, Luvelia enters, asking her father the reason of this when he knows that they are getting engaged. Guildmaster told her that this is just a formality, and his man told them that the Great Orkland and the Southern United Pork Pie Kingdom has been helping them by contributing monetary, and it will be unwise to decline them outright. Guildmaster told them that they will adhere to standard protocol and later politely refuse them. As Peter was not ready to listen, Guildmaster asked him whether his intention is to emotionally get attached to his new partner, leaving Luvelia behind. Denying the fact that Peter will ever betray her, Luvelia agreed to this blind date. In the next scene, we see Master Babe eating and appreciating their approval to the marriage, as it will form a strong relationship between Orkland and Yakapachi Warrior Guild. Thinking that the girl would be ugly, Peter was confident that he won't lose his control. But as Piglet Pancetta entered the room, he was mesmerized by her beauty. As they were roaming around in the village, Peter came to know she is very shy. She told him that she is a servant to Master Babe and just following his orders to get married. She is an outcast who is treated like garbage. Thinking that she is not good enough for Peter, she ran away. Her run was halted in between by the goon trio appointed by the Guildmaster to trouble her. Peter saved her and told her that she is not ugly but cute, and to have confidence in herself. They spent the rest of the day happily together, touring the town. At night at dinner table, when asked about the marriage by Master Babe, Peter rejected the idea, saying that this proposal is just for political reasons and the involved parties are not being asked their opinion. Master Babe, not ready to agree to this, believes that they were not given enough time to gain intimate understanding. So as a result, both of them were asked to spend a night together. Will Peter be able to control himself? We will find out soon enough. We see that Guildmaster has mixed aphrodisiac in Pancetta's drink, arousing her desire. He planned to break Peter's engagement with Luvelia and slice his head off once he gets physical with Pancetta. Pancetta is not able to control her emotions because of the drink, but Peter is trying to sway her otherwise. Desperate to convince her, Peter told her about his engagement with Luvelia. Not affected by this, Pancetta throws herself on Peter, and they both landed on the bed with her being on top of Peter. She told him that polygyny is normal in Orkland. Peter told her that this is a conspiracy by Orkland and Guild to lure them into a trap. Thinking that she is not good enough for him, that's why he is resisting, she started crying. To calm her down, Peter told her that she is beautiful, to which she started him. Realizing that giving in will mean Guildmaster's victory, Peter tried to control his mind. As he was about to get stable, Pancetta showed her melons to him. Not able to control himself anymore, Peter gave in. In the morning, we see Peter sitting with Pancetta sleeping on his lap. Thinking about what will happen if Pancetta reported this to the Guildmaster, Peter started getting anxious. As soon as she woke up, Peter told her that she has to keep this a secret. When asked why, he told her that one of her most important life decisions is controlled as national interest. He asked her if she is content with living her life as a puppet. He told her that she should listen to her heart and take time to choose her options. Will she listen to him and keep this a secret? In the next scene, we see the Guildmaster and Master Babe asking them about what happened last night. Convinced by his words, Pancetta told them that Peter didn't lay a finger on her. Master Babe and Guildmaster were not able to believe what they heard. As Peter was celebrating his victory, Pancetta told them that although there was no physical intimacy, but she felt a connection. And to make that connection strong, she requested them to transfer her to the guild to stay by Peter's side. She assured them that she will try her best to win his heart. Later, Pancetta told Peter that she did all this to prevent Orklin from taking his seeds. She intended to have a child with him, train him, and let him take revenge for her on those pigs who bullied her. He was worried that he might have created a monster with evil dark side. Pancetta promises Peter to stay by his side and assured him that she has the best reproductive skills to bear his child. Now what will Louvelia do? Will she able to claim her man with all these women around him? At night, we see Pancetta feeding Peter in his home while the Ogre Sisters and Vegan getting jealous. Ogre Sisters and Vegan started fighting on who deserves Peter's juices more. Fighting for him, Ogre Sisters were able to bring down Vegan and made fun of her for being pathetic and weak. Worried about Vegan getting ganged up, Peter came in between and helped her standing up. As they were fighting, Lisa asked Peter about the new girl. Pancetta replied that she joined the guild as a personal assistant to Peter. Pancetta realized that all four of them are here for the same reason, which is to acquire Peter's seeds. Vegan told Pancetta that she chose Peter as her husband, and the idea of a dim-witted orc defeating a proud member of Elf is laughable. Pancetta told her she don't intend to hog Peter for herself and is satisfied by being one his mistress. Shocked by her words and thinking that she laughed at her for having small melons, Vegan got angry. Peter stopped her as she was about to hit Pancetta with a spell. Lisa suggested that to stop this conflict, they must compete using their feminine wiles to form a hierarchy between themselves. All agreed to this while Peter was not having it. Vegan summoned Agape, who has the ability to quantify male arousal. Whoever is able to make Peter's tool most excited will win the competition. Ogre Sisters started it off by removing their clothes. They started bouncing their melons against each other. Peter got excited watching this, and they got a score of 91 from Agape. Next goes Vegan, but being flat-chested, she was not able to impress Peter, and her score was only 3, to which she was very displeased. As Pancetta was getting ready for her turn, her curves from her apron and her big melons made Peter lose his mind. She got a score of 91 as well. Not happy with her score, Vegan started fighting again. Not able to stop them, Peter asked help from Tim, who in return made all of them drink alcohol. This worked as all of them stopped fighting and started drinking together. To earn Peter's interest, all of them started teasing Peter. As Peter was stopping them from coming towards him, as his heart belongs Louvelia, they all stripped. In the morning, we see Peter sleeping with all 4 of them. Thinking that he betrayed Louvelia again, he asked Vegan about last night. She told him that his arousal level was so high that it made Agape burst. As they all woke up, they decided to sign a treaty to get hands on Peter's reproductive resources. As Vegan, Ogre Sisters, and Pancetta were fighting to decide the rules of the treaty, Peter was sitting alone trying to stop them. Pancetta pointed out that the agreement is biased towards Ogre Sister, to which Lisa suggested to reassess the agreement and create a final draft after reaching consensus. The terms introduced by the treaty were enforced thereafter, following which Peter carried out his duties on a daily basis, attending all of them respectively. The rest day for Peter after the treaty finally came. Peter dressed himself to spend quality time with Louvelia. As Louvelia came, Peter was not able to stop himself from admiring her beauty. They enjoyed each other's company throughout the day. At night, they went to a restaurant suggested by Peter's friend from the guild. As they were having fun reminiscing old moments and holding hands, Peter saw Mimi passing by their table. She asked him if he is on a date, to which he replied that it is a rest day, so why is she bothering him? Mimi told him that this is the best time to get ahead of the others, but Peter replied angrily that the contract was made to follow and started pulling her horns. Seeing this, Louvelia expressed that Peter has gotten quite close with her. Peter replied that he just helped her in combat training. Unable to control the situation, Peter dragged Mimi with him to the washroom. To make her leave, Peter had to make out with her against his will. As Peter hurried back to Louvelia, he found Vegan sitting there eating with her, so he had to have fun with her as well. Next was Lisa's turn to disturb their date. As Peter was away with her having fun, Louvelia was reminded of her past with Peter, how he saved her from a monster, and how they got close after that incident. As their date ended, Louvelia bid goodbye to Peter and told him that she don't mind going on trip with him outside the guild to relax. As she was leaving, Peter wanted to stop her but couldn't because of the guilt of betraying her. Will he ever get out of their torture? Let's find out. Just as Peter was regretting spooling his date with Louvelia, Piglet entered the bath area. She told him that the dinner is ready. Afraid that she is here to tease him, he told her that it is a test day, to which she agreed and asked him if she could wash his back. While washing his back, Peter told her, crying, that she went behind Louvelia's back while he was with her on a date. Piglet told him that she would never do anything that would hurt him and asked him to let his feelings out on her. As she opened her arm for him to hug, her towel fell, leaving her melons on display. Peter, being Peter, couldn't control himself. As he was sitting there after having fun with Piglet, he heard Lisa's voice from the bath. Both the Ogre sisters and Vegan were there criticizing him for violating the treaty. This started a fight between all of them. No one is ready to take responsibility and are blaming each other for the violation. No choice left. In accordance with the guideline, they decided to share Peter's fluid equally. Peter is angry that even on rest day they are not giving him space and making the treaty feel like a worthless piece of paper. Accepting their mistake, they apologized, but even if they break the rules, the treaty doesn't specify any punishment to them. Peter realized that there is no way to return back now, so he ran away from the bath naked in the rain. Fed up of their behavior, Peter decided to leave the town and the life behind. But in his fragile metal state, Peter was unable to abandon his life and leave his relationship with Louvelia. As Peter was crying, taking a shed from the rain, we see a big ogre man standing beside him. He offered Peter a towel to cover his body. Realizing that Peter is down in the dumps, he offered to lend his ear. Peter told him that he has made mistakes many times, that at this point he should suck it up and walk away. But he can't get Louvelia out of his mind. The man told him that love is beyond our control, and he understands his emotions as he himself came in this town to find the women who stole his heart. He told Peter that he is searching for her for the past 3 years and finally found a clue that she has joined the Yakapachi warrior guild. He assured him that if his love for Louvelia is genuine, then God will surely light his path with blessings. Uplifted by his words, Peter decided to never give up and have a happy life with Louvelia no matter what the future holds. The rain stopped, so the ogre decided to leave. Peter asked him about the name of the girl, as he was also from the Yakapachi warrior guild. He told Peter that she is both Ogrestan's strongest warrior and Princess Royale named Lisa Alpacas. This left Peter in shock as the ogre was confused. What will Peter do? Will Peter tell the ogre about his and Lisa's relationship? The story gets more interesting from here on. Peter rushed to Lisa to ask her about her loyal status. He couldn't believe that few months before 2 warriors who joined the guild are from royal family. Giving up, Lisa told Peter that she is the crown princess of Ogrestan and heiress to the throne. Meanwhile, Antonio Spartokos reached the reception desk of Yakapachi Warriors Guild to find Lisa. As he was talking to the receptionist, Mimi came there and was surprised to see Spartokos. On the other hand, Peter is worried about causing international disaster by getting princess of foreign country pregnant. Lisa assured him that once she get pregnant with child of unmatched strength, she will disappear from his sight and keep the name of the father as secret. To increase the chance of pregnancy, she asked Peter to give her some of his seeds. Mimi gave Antonio the location where Lisa could be found. Antonio was excited to meet Lisa after 3 long years since the Ogre sisters left Ogrestan to hone their skills, leaving behind a note. As Antonio opened the door from where he heard Lisa's voice, he saw Lisa and Peter in inappropriate position. He was heartbroken and in anger started chasing Peter to kill him. With only Banana in his hand to protect himself, Peter fought back with Antonio. Just as Antonio was going to attack again, Lisa stopped him. As the Princess of Ogrestan, she commanded Antonio to stop the violence. As the situation calmed down, all of them sat in Peter's broken room to have a conversation. Antonio bowed Lisa and requested her to stop her quest and return to her homeland, as their army is struggling in the absence of their leader. Lisa told Spartokos that she is also deeply affected by it, but can't return just yet. She has selected Peter Grill, the strongest man in the planet, as the donor. She is determined to not return until she carry the world's strongest child inside her. When asked by Antonio why she didn't choose him, she told her that it is for the simple reason that he is weak. If there was a man strong enough in Ogrestan, she would have never left. Antonio told Lisa that he is a different man now, as he is being training for the past 3 years, and challenged Peter for a duel to prove his worth. As the day of the duel came, a huge crowd was gathered to see the fight. Peter decided to loose the match intentionally, as if he would lose, then Antonio will take Lisa with her. This leaves one less obstacle between Peter and Louvelia. As Peter was thinking about loosing the match intentionally, Lisa pointed towards Louvelia, who was standing beside Mimi. Lisa warned Peter that if he intends to loose the fight on purpose, then Mimi will spill their secret to Louvelia. As the fight was going to start, Antonio told Peter that if he wants, he can announce his treacherous behavior to the world and end this without a duel. But his pride of ogre doesn't allow him to act like a coward. Antonio took Jigen-style double tomahawk stance, which is unbeatable and preached by Ogrestan's fearsome army. No living being was able to survive the weight that the spinning vortex creates. Antonio also revealed that he is pure for Lisa, or in other words, virgin. This confession led the crowd chanting for Peter to loose. Unable to loose because of Lisa's warning, Peter defeated Antonio in one blow. In disbelief of what just happened, Antonio begged Lisa for one more chance. Seeing his desperation, Lisa decided to give him a chance but changed his opponent to herself and scheduled the match for next week. Once everyone left, Antonio apologized to Peter for the transgressions he commuted against him and is now aware of the strength Peter holds. Antonio requested Peter to make him his apprentice, as he was never able to defeat Lisa in their homeland. Seeing Antonio's desperation, Vegan and Piglet suggested Peter to accept his request. They believed that if they can train Antonio to beat Lisa, then the Ogre sisters will have to leave with him for their homeland. Peter agreed to them and decided to train Antonio. They started training Antonio in every way possible. While Peter helped him train, Vegan used a forbidden form of muscle-enhancing black magic, and Piglet cooked a recipe using ingredients outlawed by Orc society that amplifies physical strength. As Peter was taking a break, he saw Michi the receptionist and asked Piglet about her. She told him that she has been coming daily to drop off lunch, and Piglet feels that Michi is in love with Antonio. Finally, it's the battle day, and Antonio is determined to win this. Who will win? Let's find out. The fight starts with both giving each other equal competition. As Peter thought Antonio was going to win, he saw that Lisa is distracting Antonio with her melons. Unable to keep his mind from looking at her melons, Antonio lost. Vegan and Piglet started arguing that Lisa cheated by flaunting her melons to a virgin, while Peter called this a date of the creature called man. Spartacus woke in a room with the news of him losing. Peter knew that even a rematch wouldn't end differently, as his kills are not the problem. Just then, Michi entered the room. Peter thought that if Antonio could get comfortable with Michi, a woman, then he can win. Peter told Antonio that the reason he is not able to win is because he is susceptible to the charms of opposites. So he suggested him to build more experience with women taking help from Michi. Antonio was not ready to listen to him, as he wants to save himself for Lisa. Listening to all this, Michi came forward and told Antonio that she knows that he cares about Lisa, but she also cares about him the same way. Melted by her words, Antonio slept with her. In the morning, Antonio felt happy after spending a night with Michi and expressed his happiness to Peter. Thinking that he is ready, Peter told him to request a rematch. But to his dismay, Antonio was now in love with Michi, as he found true happiness in her, and dropped the idea of conquering Lisa's heart. Lisa appeared and expressed her gratitude to Peter for encouraging Antonio into finding happiness, as he is the best their army has to offer. And him finding a suitable partner will boost his confidence and bring success. Lisa encourages Peter to find happiness as well. Marrying Lisa and becoming king of Ogrestan is better than marrying naive Louvelia and getting stuck with Guildmaster as father-in-law. Peter was having doubts after what Lisa just said, but as soon as he saw Louvelia, he was clear with whom his true happiness lies. Louvelia told him that goblin who devour every man in sight has attacked the village nearby. Peter rushed with Louvelia to give backup to the villagers. On the way, Peter assured Louvelia that he will protect her from danger, and once this is done, they will go on a vacation together. As they hold hands, Agape appeared with a score of 91. Which path will Peter choose going forward? Will Peter stick by Louvelia or choose someone else? We will find out in the next season. As the goblin invasion began, the bravest warriors of the guild were summoned to defend the twin. As they reached the location devoured by goblins, Peter and Louvelia split into teams of 2 and headed in opposite directions. In goblin invasion, female goblins experience periods of heightened arousal and form groups to attack human settlements. Men become powerless and hide in shelter until the storm is cleared. We get a glimpse of Peter Grill, the Ogre Sisters, Vegan, Piglet, and Antonio taking care of the goblins, although Antonio caved into them. As soon as the goblins come to know that the strongest man in the world, Peter, is there, they decide to bring him to the queen. As there is no stop to goblin invasion and they have been hoarding different regions, the higher-ups think it's best to cull the population. But Peter thinks otherwise. As Peter was talking on this matter with Tim, he got dragged into a room by Mimi and Vegan where everyone was waiting to get a hold of his juices. Tim is informed by a soldier that White Lily Bud Squadron led by Louvelia was wiped out. Hearing this, Peter ran to save Louvelia from the goblin. Peter found one of Louvelia's members lying in the open. She told him that Louvelia is being held captive by the Queen's bodyguards, who are a superior race of goblin known as Hobgoblin Elite. They introduced themselves as the Unholy Trinity Stars. Threatening that they would kill Louvelia, they tied Peter and brought them to a cave filled with their kind. Peter blocked Louvelia's view to prevent her from seeing the hideous things they were doing with men. He assured her that he would protect her and escape with her somehow. As he was talking, Peter was dragged by some goblins to become a sacrifice to the queen. Thinking that the Goblin Queen would be beautiful, Peter was happy. But he was shocked to see how hideous and ugly she looked. What will happen to Peter? We will find out later. We see Tim telling the Ogre Sisters, Vegan and Piglet, about the abduction of Peter. He told them that they wouldn't kill him as they were after his seeds as well. Hearing this, all of them decide to save him as they can't share Peter's juices with the goblin. Although Peter didn't like the way Queen Goblin looked, but was satisfied by the technique she used. While trying to rescue for half a day, Peter finally gave up. As Peter was feeling helpless, a goblin came into the cage and helped him out of it. When he asked Louvelia, she refused to tell him. She asks him if he remembers her, to which he replies that the only goblin he knows is long gone. She told him that her name was Gobuko. We dive into the flashback where we see that Peter's little sister found a little goblin in the snow. She named it Gobuko. All 3 of them were like a family and lived together until one day they were attacked by goblin hunters who captured Gobuko. Gobuko somehow escaped from their hold and was welcomed by the queen. Peter is happy to see Gobuko as he thought she died that day. He apologized for his incapability of saving her that day. Peter told him that they are family and he want her help to save Louvelia, to which she agreed. We see that Tim and company were able to enter the base quietly. Mimi started shouting to find Peter, which led to chaos in the base. We see Peter and Gobuko trying to escape when suddenly Gobuko tells him about the switch. All goblins are sensitive to Queen's pheromones and can go into heat in a second. She asks Peter for a quickie so that she can calm down, but Peter rejects, saying they are family so they shouldn't. Agreeing to this, she promised that she will hold back for him. On the other hand, Mimi pushed a button which led to all of them falling into a trap. Not able to control as Gobuko was going to persuade Peter otherwise by making him touch her melons, we see Tim and others falling on them from above. As they were complaining to Peter for having fun with a goblin, we see a goblin hunter named Kenji towards them. He told them he got a thing for goblins and that's why he knows everything about them. They noticed that Kenji was able to quench goblins' insatiable. When asked how, he answers that it's simple. About to answer, he was hit by a rock from one of the goblins. As goblins surrounded Peter and others, Tim told him to go find Luvelia, to which everyone agreed. He took Gabuko with him to find Luvelia's whereabouts. They found her trapped in a cage, and as they were about to take her out, the queen caught them. How will the queen react to Gabuko's betrayal? Let's find out. When called a traitor by the queen, Gabuko told her that she did this for her family. Queen told her that she was the one who put a roof over her head, and now Gabuko is trying to betray her. She ordered the goblins to slaughter them. Gabuko felt sad as she thought of them as her family. Peter told her that he spent some of his best moments with her in the past, and now that he is strong, he will protect her. We see a flashback where goblin hunters attacked Peter and his family, and took Gabuko away from them, which left both Peter and his sister in sorrow. As Gabuko and Peter were fighting, one of the goblins tried to attack Luvelia, but Gabuko saved her. Luvelia was grateful, but Gabuko said she did it because Luvelia is important to Peter, Gabuko's only family. Peter and others started to run towards the exit, where they saw Tim with Heavy Chastity Squadron and others who came to help. They attacked the goblins and were able to capture the queen. In a village, we see people celebrating as the queen was caught and congratulating a girl who in return told in anger that it's better to not talk about Goblin with her. Who could this be? Let's continue to know. Tim told Peter that he tried to persuade the higher-ups, but it didn't work, and they are going to eradicate every female goblin who went on rampage. As he heard this, both Gabuko and Peter ran to stop this. Just when Peter was trying to find a way out of this, he remembered that Kenji told him that the very thing these goblin needs can be used as a cure to quench their thirst. As a goblin was going to get executed, Peter made it in time to stop it. Peter brought a goblin with him inside a cave, and when she came out, she was not heat anymore. When asked how, he told them not to stick them down there, but to give them their juices orally. Agreeing to this, Tim ordered everyone to shoot their broth in the mouth of every goblin in sight. Everyone was celebrating as the goblin invasion came to an end. Suddenly, Luvelia got up and told Peter that she is going to bed early tonight. Peter was happy as he stood his ground this time. In the morning, Peter wakes up along with all the girls, including Gabuko. Gabuko told him that as they are family, they should fill their home with little bundles of joys. As Peter regrets betraying Luvelia again, we see Peter's little sister saying that she took care of the matter the siblings discussed and will soon be visiting Peter. Everyone woke up and was unhappy with Peter for bringing another female into his house. As Gabuko saw everyone else with the same desire to acquire Peter's juices, she concluded that they were also family. As they were talking, Piglet found a letter which belonged to Peter's sister. Peter rushed to read it and was terrified to find out that his sister, whom he called the Devil, was coming to visit. Gabuko is happy that Lucy is coming, while Peter trying to leave before she arrives. As Piglet asked Peter the reason, he heard a knock on the door. He opened the door and shut it as soon as he saw that Lucy was already there. Lucy asks him to open the door, but he can't. If Lucy finds out he is hanging out with 5 girls, then they are all dead. He asked the girls to hide with no evidence left behind if they wanted to survive. Realizing the situation, everyone hid, cleaning behind all the evidence of their existence. Peter opened the door and told her that he was cleaning, as he didn't know she was going to visit so soon. Lucy handed him the Skull Eternal Force Ancient Dragon as a souvenir. Lucy congratulated Peter on his engagement with Luvelia and him, that she seemed kind and honest and way too good for him. As Lucy was going to open the cupboard to put the souvenir inside, Peter stopped her, saying that it was full. Lucy sensed that something is fishy, and Peter if he is hiding something from her, like, for example, an affair. Shocked by her, she told him that she was just kidding, as she knows he is not like their old man. As Peter went to get alcohol for her, he was terrified as she is still not recovered from the past Gabuko situation and their dad cheating Fisco and has become a ball of bloodthirsty violence and terror. As Peter entered with booze, Lucy asked him if he ever invited Luvelia to his home or if there had been any other who came into his house. Terrified by her questions, he hesitatingly denied. To this, Lucy fiercely asked him about the owner of the jewelry, garments, hair strands, and many other things that she found in his room. Furious that Peter is having an affair and lying to her, Lucy starts chasing Peter with her sword. As Lucy went berserk, Peter had no choice but to run. Blocked by the cupboard behind, Peter had nowhere left to run. To calm Lucy down, he brought Gobuko out of the cupboard and told Lucy that also items belonged to her. Lucy was shocked seeing Gobuko, as Lucy thought she died long ago. Peter told her that he didn't want to spring it on her so that the shock wouldn't be too much to handle. Gobuko and Lucy were happy to meet each other after so long, and the scene ended with a family reunion. In the night, we see Peter, Lucy, and Gobuko having dinner while the remaining girls watch them from outside the window and getting jealous. Lucy asked who made the meal, as Gobuko couldn't have made it, and Peter didn't know how to cook. Also, the kitchen was wiped clean, and the plating tells that it's a woman. As Peter was going to get caught, Piglet entered apologizing for not tending to the guest. She told Lucy that she was temporarily recruited to the Yakapachi Warriors Guild and is a nutrition consultant. She told her that it was Faith that they met and asked her to join the guild. While agreeing to hang out for a while, we see Lucy hiding something under the table. What could it be? In the morning, Lucy went with Gobuko to register in the guild, where the receptionist told her that she would have to give a rank exam. Michi was surprised to know that she is Peter's little sister, who is famous as Vermin Hunter. Louvelia came as they were taking and asked for a sparring session. On the other hand, we see Peter being teased by the girls and had no choice but to give them his seeds. The sparring session between Lucy and Louvelia begins, but as they are fighting, Lucy thinks Louvelia is pregnant. In the steam room, we see Louvelia asking Lucy to be honest with her about her performance in the session, as she is feeling weak. Lucy told her that her movements were sluggish and asked her if she was pregnant. Louvelia told her that they were on the right track and she was praying every day for a child. Lucy was happy to know that she is going to become an aunt, but as she came to know that Louvelia thinks that a stock swooped down from the sky to give babies, all of her dreams were shattered. Gobuko was eating a candy, and when Lucy asked from, she got it. Gobuko told her that Mimi gave it to her and told her to keep Lucy busy. Realizing Peter is lying to her, Lucy rushed to his house. Sensing his sister's presence, Peter quickly got dressed along with others, but before he could hide others, he was caught by Lucy. Peter told her they were just training, but Lucy brought out the undercover kitty device, which recorded their voice, which she hid under the table before. At night, we see Tim coming back to find the house completely broken, while Peter defending himself from Lucy using a banana. Peter told her to stop, as they are family, to which Lucy replied that she sliced off their bleeding and sobbing father's junk and stuffed it down his gullet when he did the same. As Lucy was going to cut off Peter's junk as well, Gobuko came in between to stop her. She told Lucy to stop, as she don't want to lose her family again. Not able to think of an excuse, Peter told Lucy that they were playing chess, and we can hear girls saying checkmate in the recording. Lucy believed this and apologized for not believing in him. While Gobuko and Lucy are sleeping, everyone else are worried, as Peter has a case of wet noodle syndrome. When asked what has caused it, Peter realized it was because of the fear of Lucy cutting off his tool. Lucy tried to use Eternal Erection spell, but it was reflected by his junk. Piglet told them that Tim told her that stress is one of the main reasons for a man to be unable to get a. She suggested that they should go somewhere for relaxation. So they all went to a spa resort. As Peter was relaxing and thinking that it would be better if Louvelia has joined him, he see Louvelia sitting right beside him. As Peter felt someone watching him, he realized it was a hallucination, and Louvelia is not there. In the castle, we see Louvelia regretting not going with Peter to the spa resort. She wanted to go but couldn't stand against her father, as Louvelia told her father that she wants to go on a date with Peter, as they don't get much time to spend together, considering they are getting married soon. Her father started begging her to not go, holding her tight. She has to agree to her and is now thinking why she can't have an iron will like Peter. Thinking about Peter make her body warm, and she feels aching sensation in the pit of her stomach. As Peter entered a Meshtel-style massage center, he was shocked to know that Ogre Sisters worked there. He lay down on the bed facing upward. Feeling bad for forcing too much juice out of Peter, the Ogre Sister decided to give him their special message, which ought to fix him. They put oil on their melons and started rubbing it against Peter's body. But it had no effect, as Peter is still not excited down there. Ogre Sisters asked help from Gobuko and Piglet, who started massaging Peter with their hands. Gobuko learned from Queen that releasing lymphatic fluids increases male hormones. Gobuko started applying oil in Peter's tool, as it is the area where most of the lymphatic fluid collects. As Lisa was going to use a to release fluid from inside, Peter started resisting, but Gobuko was successful in inserting it from his back hole. Peter's junk was still not excited after all this effort. Peter left in disappointment. Peter thought that the situation was not that bad, as if his tool is not able to work properly. Then the girl will leave him eventually. Later in the bath, we see Vegan talking with Peter and telling him that although it's her turn to get his juices today, she doesn't think he can provide her in this condition. As they were talking, a blue mist surrounded them, dropping both of them unconscious. Peter woke up in the Elven village, Minestrone, where he is welcomed by the Elven Goodwill Ambassador, Fultalia Eldoriel. If she is the Goodwill Ambassador, then who is Vegan? Fultalia told Peter that instead of her older sister, it should be her to have his juices to give birth to a superchild. As Peter told her to take his opinion as well, she told him that he should happy to have a chance to smash a girl like her. Denying to help Fultalia bear a child, Peter started walking away, but was stopped in between by her spell. She used the spell that turns the whole body into an erogenous zone, making it 3,000 times more sensitive. Fultalia ordered her men to hold Peter as she removed his towel. Thinking that his tool would be bulged out by the spell, she was surprised to see his tool dead asleep. When asked why he don't have an Peter told her that it's because of love that he has for Luvelia. Fultalia's grandmother entered and asked Peter if he is Fultalia's friend, to which he agreed. As Peter was asking Fultalia to lift the spell, the grandmother started coughing. She apologized to Peter for not being hospitable enough due to hard times they are facing since the incident. On the other hand, Gobuko found Vegan lying in the bath. As she woke up, she told them her sister stole Peter from them to get his juice. They all decided to save him, but was stopped by Vegan. She told them that as it's her family matter, it's her responsibility to bring him back. Not listening to her, everyone else decided to form a team to rescue Peter themselves. Peter asked Fultalia's people about the incident. They told him that it is called Minestrone in the pudding incident, and brought him to a vault built by Vegan and Fultalia's great-great-great-grandfather Lord Vegetalia during House Eldoriel's heyday. He left them a vast fortune as inheritance inside the vault. There is an Elvish that reads, "When the powers of the sisters combine, the seal shall be broken." But as they don't get along with each other, the seal is still intact. Begging on their knees, they asked Peter to mediate between them, as the job of being Goodwill Ambassador is designed to pay off debt. Peter, realizing that if they break the seal and find the fortune, they will be free of their duties, decided to help them. We see Fultalia on her knees, begging to someone to give her more time for her to get pregnant. He told her that they made the deal that her debts will be canceled if she gets pregnant by tainting her blood with a human. He can't wait any longer and want result when he visits next time. Fultalia started crying for doing this worst job, and even when she tried to fulfill it, she was unable to even get Peter's thing excited. Frustrated by all this, Fultalia used forbidden form of deception magic on Peter that made him imagine Fultalia as Luvelia rubbing her melons against him. Not able to control his tool's excitement, Peter also got We see that it was Fultalia who ripped Peter to see if his tool is back to normal or not. To Fultalia's surprise, it was soft, which she couldn't believe, as she could feel it hard a minute ago. Peter told her that he used rapid fire pole polishing that is hitting his junk hard in the second he had to neutralize the spell. As Fultalia was going to use another spell on Peter, Vegan came in time to save the day. She used the sensitive spell on Fultalia, making her 3,000 times more sensitive. Vegan told her that she and Peter are in love and agreed to get married, so she is the more suitable Goodwill Ambassador. As they were fighting, Grandmother came and was surprised to see Vegan. Vegan left telling her grandmother to take care of herself and that she will do her best to restore Eldoriel former glory. On the other hand, we see the 4 girls were lost as Mimi read the map upside down. Peter asked Vegan to lift the spell that Fultalia used on him. Vegan agreed, but in return asked him for his manhood. Nowhere to go, Peter had to agree. After the work, Peter told Vegan that he feel no different than before, to which she replied that the hyperesthesia can lifted only by the one who casted it. Peter told her if he is going to be her husband someday, he wants to know everything about her, starting with why she was banished from the village. She told him that 3 years ago, Vegan and Fultalia had a fight because Vegan ate her pudding. Feeling bad, she decided to form a replica with magic. Wasn't able to control her magic, she covered the whole village into pudding, and they went bankrupt after ordered to pay the punitive damages which resulted in minestrone in the pudding incident. When Peter asked her why she lied to be the ambassador, she declined to answer. Peter replied that there should be no secrets between them. Unable to counter, Vegan told him that she didn't want Fultalia to suffer because of her. Peter told her to have a heart-to-heart conversation between sisters and tell her why she did this to bury the hatched. Vegan denied at first, but after Peter's assurance, she agreed. As they went back to meet Fultalia, Vegan tried bowing to Fultalia to apologize and make the face that Peter taught her. Unable to form a proper expression, Fultalia thought that she is here to mock her and got angry. This resulted in another fight between the sisters. Both the sisters started fighting viciously. Taking advantage of the spell that made Fultalia's body 3,000 times more sensitive, Vegan started squeezing her melon from behind. As Vegan was going to launch a big attack on Fultalia, Peter came in between to stop her. Not ready to stop, she launched a big attack on him, which he easily diverted, and the person who asked for the debt got hit by it instead. As they were fighting for the ambassador duties, Vegan told Fultalia that as big sister, it's her duty to do this. Fultalia was not happy, as Vegan always acted pompous and selfish. As they were going to attach again, the grandmother came. Fultalia told Peter she don't like how Vegan always causes trouble and never accepts her mistake, which Peter denied. He told her that Vegan realized her mistake and was going to bear his child so that Fultalia don't have to suffer. Fultalia did not believe that Vegan cared about someone other than herself. Peter told Vegan to express her feelings to Fultalia honestly. Vegan apologized to Fultalia crying and asked for her forgiveness. Fultalia punched her instead and told her that a sorry won't fix everything. But she admits that she feels better, and the grandmother told them to treat each other with kindness as they only have each other. As the sister reconciled, they decided to break the seal of the vault. As the seal opened, they entered a forest area with a light glowing in the middle. It was a hologram spell left behind by Lord Vegetalia. He told them that if they find compassion in their hearts for one another, then they can overcome any obstacle. In other words, the House Eldoriel's legacy that he left behind is nothing but the bond that they share, and the real treasure lies deep within their heart. Disappointed that it wasn't cash, the sisters were really angry. Peter decided to leave quietly, but was caught midway. They told him that as they caused more damage, they should work together to secrete more juice out of him. As they finished making seeds, we see the remaining 4 girls also join them in secreting Peter's juice. While dining, Guildmaster told Luvelia to not be angry with him as he trusts her fiancé and will be tasking him with an important errand soon. But his real plan is to destroy him completely with this errand. Guildmaster informed Peter that he wants him to perform the ceremonial treaty rites as he is too old to do it himself. His task is to travel to Dwarven countryside and perform rite, which is Heshikiri dynamic, or demonstration of combat expertise, as representative of the guild. It is a sacred ritual to reaffirm the alliance between Warrior Guild and Dwarven people. Long ago, one of their warriors slew the giant cicada moles, one of the dwarves' natural predator, which is reenacted every year by a representative by slashing a crystal replica of the creature using the fabled orichalcum sword known as Shira Takamaru. Guildmaster told Peter if the ceremony goes well, he will believe that Peter is destined to marry Luvelia. He told him that the ceremony is 1 week later and advises him to get used to the blade, as he don't want him to damage the priceless heirloom as if it is broken. Then even he can't save Peter from the consequences. While training with the sword, Peter broke the sword. Tim told him that the sword is being tempered with so that it breaks easily. Realizing it is one of Guildmaster's trick, Peter immediately went out to fix the sword. As human are not capable of producing orichalcum, he went to Dwarven town to fix it. Determined to fix the sword, Peter reached the Dwarven village. We see a man convincing Mislim to earn money to get the ingredients she wants. Not ready to work, Mislim wishes for someone with world's strongest splooge to knock on her doorsteps. As Peter tried to find help, no one was ready to help him. When he asked an old man, he told him that Mr. Netherland's daughter can help him, but warned him that she got a screw loose. As Peter reached her home, he found Gordo trying to drag her out to work. She refused as she wanted to research instead of physical labor. Furious by her behavior, Her father told her that she won't get any allowance from now on. Peter asked for Mislim's help in repairing his sword. Realizing that he is the world's strongest man, Peter grilled, she agreed to fix it and took him to her laboratory. Looking around, Peter asked why she bother making things out of junk, to which she replied that she don't want to do physical labor and to keep her father from forcing her. She made these powerful weapons. Mislim proposed a deal to Peter that in exchange of fixing his sword, she wants access to copious amount of his juices for building the ultimate combat automaton. Peter disagreed and insisted that she is still a kid for this, to which she replied that she is 32 years old. Mislim brought out a machine build to secrete 20 gallons of Peter's juices out of him. Scared of getting sucked out of his juice, he hit the automaton. It went crazy, and in an attempt to get away from it, both Peter and Mislim got stuck in the dungeon. As there was no sign of Peter, the Guildmaster Albatross came as the representative and is welcomed by Lord Gordo of the Dwarves, who prepared a feast for them. As Peter was stuck with Mislim inside a room, he tried to fight his way out, but was unsuccessful. Mislim told him that it will not open until a man and a woman get their freak on. Being desperate to fix his sword and go out before the ceremony starts, Peter agreed to help Mislim with her researches, but she told him that she don't have enough fund for it. With no other choice, Peter offered a deal that if he is able to attend and complete the ceremony without any trouble, then he promised to provide her with temporary financial support. Happy with the offer, Mislim went and told Peter that this is the only way to go out. At the dinner table, we see everyone enjoying dinner while Luvelia is worried about Peter. Lord Gordo appeared and congratulated Luvelia for getting engaged. He offered a ticket to tour the area's historical landmark as a wedding present. He got it from an arms dealer who suggested him to visit with his daughter, but he couldn't as his daughter stays home locked up. They suddenly heard a thump. Scared, Luvelia asked if it's Cicada Mole who is living underground. Gordo reassured her that it's being 100 years since they were last seen and is said to have gone extinct. He thinks that plenty has changed and it's time for them to reevaluate their deal with the guild. As Guildmaster Albatross was celebrating the news of Peter running away, Luvelia expressed her wish to talk with him. Luvelia told Albatross to re-examine their present arrangement with dwarves, as dwarves no longer need protection from the guild against the cicada moles. Also, she feels the terms of the treaty is designed to manipulate dwarves and exploit them of their profit. The treaty being their biggest cash cow, Albatross discarded the idea by saying that there are many more threats other than cicada moles and asked Luvelia to keep out of it, as she is inexperienced in this aspect. As Peter was sticking his stick into Mislim, she started screaming due to the pain. As Peter was going to give up, Mislim told him that she will rather die than accepting defeat. To control her mind, Peter told her that he will provide lifelong financial support to her. Excited by the offer, all her pain went away, and they were finally able to do the job. The time of the ceremony came, and everyone started calling out Peter to slice the replica. As the scene ends with a cicada mole coming out of the ground. Will Peter be able to reach on time to save everyone from the creature? Let's continue the story to know. As cicada mole came out of the ground, everyone started running in fear. On the other hand, we see Peter and Mislim are finally out of the room. As the creature was heading towards Albatross, Luvelia tried to protect him but was stopped by the Guildmaster. The ogre sister went ahead to fight the creature, but their attack didn't work on it. Similarly, the elves' sister launched a powerful attack but was in vain as it didn't even scratch it. As Albatross was getting ready to fight, Peter came in as the savior. With the sword made of orichalcum repaired, he sliced the creature in half. Although he appreciates his effort and bravery, Albatross asked Peter why the legendary sword that is passed down through generations has mysteriously changed its shape. Unable to tell him that they had to turn it into an axe to make it in time, he made an excuse. He believes that they should reevaluate their current relationship with dwarves, and in order to rectify the unequal terms of the agreement, he deliberately asked Mislim, one of dwarves' talented blacksmith, to redesign the sacred sword. He offered a new agreement with the guild forces to be ready to fight for the dwarves, while the dwarves with their smithing skills and knowledge should provide the guild with the weapons. They all agreed along with Albatross, who was rather displeased. As Lovelia was going to ask a favor from Guildmaster, they were stopped in between by Albatross's man. He told them that they are ready to departure. Albatross told Lovelia that he will listen to her request on the way back home, but Lovelia disagreed to leave until he accepts her request to go on a vacation with Peter. She showed him the ticket she got from Gordo, which Albatross immediately destroyed with his sword. Lovelia told her father that if he is going to be unreasonable, then she is going to move out. Gordo told Peter that he heard from Mislim about Peter breaking up with Lovelia to provide a stable life to her. As Peter was going to deny, Gordo threatened Peter, saying surely he won't be laying a finger on Mislim unless willing to make serious commitments. Unable to do anything, Peter agreed to take Mislim with him. As Peter was thinking about running to a lone island with Lovelia, he heard her from above sitting in a horse. She rode towards him, and as he climbed the horse, she told him that she plans to run away with him on a vacation as her father is not allowing it. The season ends with both Peter and Lovelia leaving for their vacation happy in each other's company. They decided to make their own happily ever after, even if the things gets tough. Let's meet again in the next season.